silence the home automation system.
Oh, we like that.
So I'm playing around with some really interesting experiments. Got Ruth's house online here, so I can see if anybody comes to a door, and then I can talk to them because she's away this week. So works quite well, actually.
Right, so I'll just send the link out. I'll invite him again to the call and see what happens.
Yeah.
Hello.
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 Hello, hello, hello.
We weren't sure whether you were going to be here or not.
Yes, no, they arrived probably at 7 o'clock to collect our old tall high sleep or whatever it's called. So in an A class.
Very big thing.
Yeah, to basically collect a bunk bed in an A class.
Oh,
did it fit? And did it fit?
It did, with some bungee ropes to secure it downwards.
Obviously, it wasn't a long wheelbase version then. That's why I drive. You see, so
got you.
A long wheelbase one you can get anything in.
Yeah, I really like the new A class. I really like. We've got a B class, and it's kind of starting to get a bit too big with the kids growing up. But yeah, the A class is really nice now.
Right.
I mean, newly reorganised study, officially cleaned and dusted, and old cables removed, and
and you found a few servers that you didn't realise you had running, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually Skyping via my Surface Pro 3 this evening instead of my old Lumia, which is getting used less and less.
Well, we might as well make a start, because we were talking about tech before we started with what Gary's recording. So, good evening, chaps.
Good evening.
Good evening. Here we are again.
Yeah, here we are again.
on a chilly January evening.
Yeah, we just had hailstone the size of golf balls, I think, and I was just driving along the motorway, and it just suddenly went white. It's very unnerving when it does that. Yeah, so you get the eerie feeling as you see everybody start to slow down, thinking, okay, what do we do now? Because it literally went white. But then 20 minutes later, it's gone. Yeah. So you were just saying, folks, so you're this week you're on your Surface 3.
I am, yes, taking the call on the Surface Pro 3, and I'm carrying the Lumia around at 2520 around me at the moment, but it's really getting less and less use. Although I still tend to use it a little bit in the evenings, just because, as we said before, it's just that slightly better form factor for just being lazy on the sofa with it. But yeah, more and more, it's just the Surface Pro 3, and I've used it in meetings for handwriting notes, and yeah, I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, very, very nice device. And Gary, you said you got a different solution as well.
Yep. So this week I'm on the Lynx 8 with a USB to go cable and my headset plugged into that, and so I can wander around, but have fairly decent quality.
Oh, that's very good. And I'm on my usual mixture of 3 machines tonight. Well, 4 if you include the tablet as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always good to have lots of devices. So, right, so we've got plenty of things to talk about tonight. We had some more stuff from CES, something from Intel, which actually looked pretty interesting.
Yep, definitely.
We can talk about. There's been some more stuff for the band, media browser news, VLC news, smart glass news, and a few other bits and pieces. So, plenty to talk about this week. But the first item I wanted to talk about, and I've got email as well, don't let me forget that. And you can email ian@digitallife.com or via the contact page on the site if you want to get in touch. But the first thing I wanted to talk about this week was the new Intel compute stick, and I don't think we talked about that last week. It was just after we recorded.
Yeah, it basically came out, I think it was almost a couple of hours after we recorded I first saw about it. I love this thing. It's brilliant.
So
yes.
So Gary, describe what it is then.
Well, if you think of something like the Roku stick or the plentiful Miracast sticks, which plug into an HDMI port, it looks like Chromecast, those sort of things. It looks like one of those, about exactly the same size as that, but it's a full-blown Atom PC.
and that's what's impressive, isn't it? It's a tiny little thing, but a PC. So this is going to bring you. This is a way of you getting Windows onto your PC very easily.
Yeah, carry it around. It can be run headless as well. I mean, obviously, it's designed to plug into an HDMI port, but it can be run headless, so it could be a great home automation device. Sub $100. It's just amazing.
So I'll give you some of the specs then. So it's like I said, HDMI looks very much like a Chromecast or a Roku stick. HDMI and a micro USB cable for power in it. Although I think they are going to upgrade it to the MHL spec, which allows to take power from HDMI. Quad core Atom processor, 32 gigs SSD storage, 2 gig of RAM, USB, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and Windows 8.1 for $149.
Yeah. And there's supposedly going to be a cheaper version as well. So.
Yeah, the cheaper version is 1 gig of RAM, 8 gig SSD with Linux for $89.
Yeah, and you could put Windows on that one as well. I know it comes with Linux, but
yeah,
astounding. I mean, it's slightly wider than some of the other sticks, so I think it would take up 2 HDMI slots potentially. So it might be a little bit, but all you need is like an HDMI extension lead, and you'd be able to put it into a single slot. I mean, that one doesn't qualify for the free licensing either, and I can't quite figure out that. But I guess the screen size is going to be bigger than 8 inches.
I think, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think there must be some kind of deal that Microsoft, if you're selling a device with an Atom processor under a certain price, then it's zero cost licensing as well, because it's probably the Windows with Bing option, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't actually see that.
Oh, it didn't say that on any of the details. But what a neat little device. I mean, we think back. We're in our 10th year, so think back. 10 years ago, what we had connected to TVs, we had big tower PCs with fans kicking in and SCART cables and composite cables and RGB and whatever. And then 10 years later, we've got a device that's smaller than the whatever USB adapter we would have had at a time for a tuner or anything that we had at a time 10 years ago.
Yeah. So I mean, it's also got micro SD slot, so you can expand the storage on it. I mean, at the moment, obviously, the USB's got to be used for power, so that's a little bit restrictive. I don't know if they've independently got USB to go on there or not, but obviously that'd be an obvious thing to do. But yeah, I mean, and if they can upgrade it to take HDMI power, a lot of TV sets don't support that, so that could be an issue.
Yeah, I think it's technically MHL, isn't it? That for HDMI with power. I don't know whether mine supports it, but when I've been using the Chromecast and the Roku, I just use a USB. But it's actually, I think you might be okay for what you think for USB, because I think it's got a discrete USB port as well as the micro USB port for charging or for power.
In fact, you are right. It has.
Yeah, just looking at the picture there. Yeah,
it has. So that's great. I mean, you can obviously plug peripherals in. And I'm not sure. It's obviously got Wi-Fi on it.
Yeah, and Bluetooth.
And Bluetooth. Do we know what spec Bluetooth it is?
No, I think
I'm just wondering if it's Bluetooth 4, which would make it for some really interesting possibilities with it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'll check, but I think the details were pretty sparse.
Yeah.
But and the other interesting, this is actually due. Was it February, something like that? It's pretty soon.
It's pretty soon, and it's going to be UK pricing is going to be competitive as well. So I've heard rumours it won't be dollar for pound, so it'd be actually less than the dollar price. So that could be really interesting.
So this would be a great way of getting media onto your TV, where it's sort of almost going full circle. So you could, I mean, yes, you won't have Windows Media Center on it unless you stump up for the Windows upgrade. But even if you did that, it's still not that expensive, and you've got a full blown Windows Media Center system.
Yeah, I've just found a quote where it says it is Windows 8.1 with Bing. So you're right on that. So and it's 1.4A on the HDMI as well. So I'm not sure if it's got 3D support, but it could potentially have that. It is Bluetooth 4, 811G, 811N. Amazing.
I think that could be a really nice device.
It's crazy. Just the size of it is just amazing. I'm sure we've got a side HDMI port on our telly, but I'm sure it would stick out beyond the width of the bezel. But even so, it's just, we talk about the old Atom processors and what they're capable of now. It's just, you imagine being able to just take that along to a presentation and just plug it in and away you go.
I'm thinking of there's so many things you could do with this. I mean, particularly in my industry, event industry, there's loads of stuff you could do with this. It's crazy things. So I really do like this. I know a couple of people I've seen have complained it's a bit pricey, which I get to some of the things I do get, because if you compare it, say, the Galileo board, which is now about £60, it's a very similar device to that. But I suspect we'll see discounting on it anyway, because if you look at, say, the Nook pricing, the Nook list pricing is way higher than it actually gets charged in retail. So now the other interesting thing on this is obviously Bay Trail at the moment, which is the current generation of Atom processor, but there were also rumours that we'd get a Core M version of it as well, which is going to mean the graphics are going to be incredible, and it's that could be a real winner. Probably a bit more expensive, but that'd be a fair. I mean, that could actually replace my media center.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, if anybody's got a media center PC that's a few years old, then if you're not using it for maybe 3D or gaming or something like that, then it would be an ideal replacement.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got storage issues to think about on this, and it's and that's a problem potentially if you haven't got very high-speed internet you can store on the cloud, which is obviously what they're trying to get you to do with it. But micro SD cards are getting bigger and bigger all the time. I heard of rumours of a 512 one being out fairly shortly. Whether this will support it, I'm not sure. But so you potentially, I mean, if you had a 512 gig micro SD card in it, which probably costs twice as much as the actual device itself, you could certainly store TV on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really impressive.
I mean, maybe that's the case for having a NAS or a home server or something like that, isn't it? So you can pick it get the content over the network. Yeah,
with networking getting faster and faster. So, I mean, obviously it's a shame it's only up to 11N, because that wouldn't potentially go as fast as the AC stuff could go. But then again, it's probably more compatible with what most people have got. And I guess if they went the Core M chipset, that would actually have N on it anyway, so, AC on it anyway. So
I can imagine. I mean, I've been using Chromecast. I've been using the Roku stick, but I could imagine just sticking Windows 8.1 in there and sticking that into my TV and using that for Plex and Media Browser and Netflix. And
yeah, I mean, the great thing about it,
Internet Explorer or whatever.
It gives you the full-blown clients. I mean, I could run my home automation controller on it. All those sort of things would work really, really well. I can imagine actually having an array of these things. having 4 of them plugged into the side of my TV, all running different things, just switch between them.
Yes, of course, yeah, multiple HDMI ports, yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't task switch your Windows anymore, you PC switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, one running Media Browser, one running Media Center, one running XBMC. Yeah, it's a good idea. So,
as I said, I sort of half joked this on Twitter when this was announced in conversation with you, but I wonder if there's actually a market now for portable screens which you can plug these into with keyboards.
Yes, I see what. Yeah, I remember you saying that. So what do you mean? Just as a straight screen that you can, a small 10-inch or something like that?
Yeah, it's a small 10-inch screen, because a 10-inch touch screen doesn't cost an awful lot. And if you actually put HDMI in and USB on it, that would be quite impressive. As a kit for this thing, you either use it on the move or you plug it into the TV when you get there.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's got amazing potential, and just to I've seen a lot of reaction from people on Twitter when they announced it, and even just the number of views that the post had compared to other stuff. So there's a lot of interest out there, and like I said on the thing, it could be your next Windows Media Center system.
Yeah, or whatever media center we have in Windows 9, 10, 11.
Well, that's the thing. Is I guess it will get Windows 10. Which version of Windows 10? We'll have the mobile one, the desktop one, or who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
but it'll probably be. But they are saying on Intel's information page, it's got business use as well, because effectively it's your desktop PC in your pocket, isn't it? That you carry around with you.
I mean, for hot desking, that's fabulous. So, I just can't. You just have a couple of HDMI screens everywhere, over USB or even Bluetooth keyboards. One great idea.
Yeah. So, Jason, could this bring you back to then putting PC onto your TV?
Oh, have we lost Jason?
Sorry, I dropped out.
Yeah, you dropped out. Yeah, I was just to, could this bring you back to having a PC on your TV?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, possibly. Not necessarily maybe that, but certainly if there was this when they shrink down over time, if it was something that could really be tucked away and hidden behind the TV, then yeah, I'd certainly be tempted. But I'll tell you what I was thinking more of is I keep talking about my plan to get rid of our desktop PC, but which is a Core i7, but I could imagine one of those plugged into our monitor, which has got a HDMI port, and just as a standby backup device, something that doesn't take up a massive amount of room on the desk, but just kind of tucks away and is there just for emergencies.
Yeah, I mean, particularly with the Core M version of it, that'll give you definitely enough grunt for a desktop. So yeah, I just think there's so many possibilities with it. Every time I think about it, I think more options you could actually do with it.
Yeah, and also I think probably rather than actually on the main TV in the living room, certainly, if you had a TV in the bedroom or something, that would be quite a good way to have access to all different TV services and streaming services without having to worry about getting a particular box that supports everything.
Yeah. The other thing I thought about is plugging it into the back of an Xbox One.
That's what I will actually probably end up doing. Because I've got the Chromecast and the Roku and everything else, and so yeah, I think I'm going to stick it into the back of the Xbox One, and then I've got a Bluetooth keyboard mouse combo thing. So then that would be a PC in the living room then, if you ever need it. So yeah, I think it could. I currently haven't got a PC connected to a TV, so I've been using Miracast, but I actually prefer this way because you're not reliant on having. You're not the issue that we talked about in the past. You're not reliant on, say, your Surface being the host, and then you have to put the Surface down while it's on Miracast mode. You can just have the one thing.
Yeah.
Maybe a little a Bluetooth remote control as well. I don't know. Can you, I've not seen anything like that. Can you get a Bluetooth remote controls?
Yes, yeah, you can get Bluetooth. You certainly can for presentation. So
yeah.
I guess you could use that. I mean, the other thing I was thinking about it is it's more than high enough spec to run Vox Commander, the voice control software I use. And so obviously you'd have to have some sort of mic in on it, but that would work really well.
Yeah, so that's the other way of looking at this. Is I've been thinking it as a client, but like you said, if it could run headless and just power it, it's a very small server.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Well, you certainly run a home server.
Yeah.
Maybe not a lot of storage for home server, but I mean, the other thought pattern I had it keeps thinking of more and more things you could use it for, in terms of servers and the like. I mean, I was thinking it'd be a really good client for JR Media Center as well, for JRiver for the audio, because the HDMI out on that has actually got the full audio spec on it, so that'd be pretty cool as well. So I could imagine just plugging one of those in the back of my amplifiers throughout the house rather than to do my network streaming.
Yeah, I can see a lot of possibilities with this, and especially with when we get so Windows 10 with more media apps and everything else, and there's a lot of options you can do with it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know JRiver have hinted that they're working on synchronized playback on multiple devices. That could be really powerful for doing that. It might be a good Sonos competitor.
Yeah, and given the price of Sonos kit, then this is not that much of an add-on.
No.
I mean, when you think $149, if the price of a Roku stick's not, is what, £80 or something like that, £70. I can't remember now, but yeah, they're not far off really, and the functionality you get is pretty amazing. You get the full PC.
Yes, I think we can safely say we're excited about this one.
Yes, I definitely. I think I'll definitely have one of those on order when they become available.
Yep.
And of course, talking about Windows 10, we should find out a bit more about Windows 10 next week.
Yes, indeed. So it's the 21st, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, seems to be coming around really quick now.
Yeah. So we've seen some of the screenshots. I know we talked about it a little bit about last week, but I've seen some of the sort of dark theme. It looks quite nice.
Yes, yeah,
Leaked screenshots, I should say, as well.
Leaked screenshots, and also the leaked new browser, which, as we were sort of saying, would there be a full screen browser? This does seem to be full screen and touch centric, and even has the ability to use a pen on it, which I thought was quite cool.
Yeah, Cortana, wasn't it? Cortana
integration as well. Yeah, use a pen to draw. So you can do a lot of the stuff you can do in OneNote directly in the browser, which is quite an interesting concept.
Which explains why the full screen Metro IE is not present in the Windows 10 builds we get now.
Yeah, indeed. So the question is will that be the same browser used on the mobile version?
And talking of the mobile version, did you say that they released an app, well, not officially released it, but it's available, a sort of Windows Insider app for Windows Phone?
Yeah, are you surprised that's out?
So what would this give us?
Well, we don't know yet officially, but I guess we can guess it's going to be similar to the Windows Insider app for Windows. So give you options, perhaps access to the actual beta for Windows Phone.
Yeah.
Now I'm very comfortable using the beta on Windows 10 on my desktop. I'm not so sure I'll be comfortable using it on my main driver phone.
Yeah, I was thinking that. What about you, Jason? Are you going to put that on your nice new phone?
Yeah. I think as Gary says, it's a whole different ballgame running release software that before the carriers have authorized it, but actually running a beta operating system on a phone that I do kind of rely on my phone quite a bit. So not too sure about that one. But the problem is, once I see a few screenshots and read a few reviews,
I know
curiosity will get the better on me.
Yeah, I've got my old HTX, my old HTC phone, HD8 or whatever it is. So maybe I could put it on that, but then I'm really sitting and looking at my 1520, thinking, oh, Windows 10 will look good on that. So it'd be very difficult to restrain myself.
Yes, I think it will be. Although in some ways it does mean that I won't have a chance to try out Denim on my phone if I do that. So I'm quite tempted to try out the Hey Cortana functionality. Actually, yeah. Just aside, a guy at work who's got an iPhone. We were laughing, and he tried to say "Okay, Google" to his iPhone, and it said, "I think you've got the wrong smartphone."
I've tried that on Cortana.
No.
Actually, me and the kids tried this quite a few months ago now when Cortana first came out. We lined all three up, so we had my iPad, Cortana on my phone, and Google, using the OK Google on my Nexus, and the Google was completely dry. So Google Now was completely dry. You could try jokes, it was very dry, but Windows Phone and with that Cortana and Siri on iOS do have a sense of humor. They do put some things in there, which is nice. It gives them that sort of personality. But we asked the same thing sort of 3 times, and you get different answers from all 3, obviously. But Cortana and Siri did have a little bit of a sense of humor about them.
Yes, definitely do. But I think that might be another reason why I'd be slightly reluctant to jump straight to the Windows 10 preview on my phone. But then again, who knows when Denim's going to arrive? We're still waiting. So.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think we'll have the release of Windows 10 by then.
Yeah, I do think it'll be a case that my curiosity gets better on me.
Yeah, I think most people listening to this will have the.
You haven't got spare phones lying around?
Well, I've got my wife's 920, but I don't think she'd appreciate me doing that.
Well, like I said, I've got my old HTX, my HTC but which is running 8.1, but it's not the same, is it? It's tempting to put it on your pro. I mean, it's the same thing when if I can get the new Windows 10 consumer preview on my Surface, I think even though it's my main machine that I use for all of this stuff, I'm still very tempted to do it.
Yeah, I think to us that's probably going to be a bigger leap for me, because at the moment I've resisted temptations that my Surface Pro 3 is still running Windows 8.1, which means I've got a dual boot menu, so I can choose whether or not Hyper-V gets loaded or not, so that the connected standby works when I use the tablet normally. But Windows 10 solves that solution. But I've just not been confident enough that it's kind of stable enough to use on my Surface just yet. But when the next release comes up next week, I might well be tempted to make that jump.
Yes, I mean that's the thing. I think once we see the consumer preview, then I think that's what we're going to be looking forward to, and that's what we're going to want to get on systems.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that put me off with the current Windows 10 preview is being sure that the Surface Pen would still work correctly. I think on the earlier builds it wasn't working, but it is now. But so I quite like just being able to click the pen and get OneNote up and start taking notes, and I wouldn't want to lose that functionality.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So we can talk. We'll preview it next week, and then listeners can listen to our predictions as after the announcements and see how close we are. Usually,
yeah.
Sometimes close, sometimes not so close. Interesting. You sort of talked about the Surface there. Just sort of follow up from something we talked about last week. We were talking about those Encores, and I wonder if now we're seeing the things like the Encore 2 Write that Gary talked about last week with the pen, whether it continues that thought that we had last week, that really do Microsoft need to continue with devices like the Surface highlighting the pen features, or are the OEMs now doing a good enough job that Microsoft can say, okay, well, we pushed you, we've done our bit, now off you go?
Yeah, I still think they're going to produce Surface devices for now, but I don't think we're going to get anything other than perhaps a revamped Surface Pro 3.
Yeah,
we're not ready for one of those yet.
Yeah, I think maybe next week we'll have a Surface Pro 3 revision. Jason.
Well, I can see one coming out with Windows 10. That would actually make sense.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. That would be logical sign. But looking at after we talked last week, I wrote the post about the Encore 2 Write, and it actually looks a very nice device, and kind of like a Surface Mini.
Yeah, I like that. I sort of said I saw an early incantation of that at IFA in Berlin last year, and I really liked it. It was a bit clunky then. I hadn't sort of refined the hardware at that point, but the actual pen interaction was really good, and I just think it's a really nice looking device.
Now, talking about Microsoft and other updates, they updated the band last week. For the few that have got the Microsoft band. So I had a firmware update for my band last week. This is the first firmware update since the device release. So you'd expect a lot of changes for a first firmware update. Sadly, there wasn't a lot of changes. The only thing I can find is it now gives you haptic feedback when you plug the charger in, and that was the only thing I could see any difference. So, and not a huge amount of difference. Although under the covers, I think they have done some work. They've enabled some new sensors. So I came across an app where I was looking at the band last week that can actually show your sensors real time.
All right.
So I don't know you've seen. If you haven't seen it, you get the Microsoft Health app to go with your Microsoft band, and that gives you things like your heart rate and everything else. But it's not really real time. It's more of a chart of showing you through the day, or if you're doing an activity like a run or using the GPS, it shows you that activity, but you don't get real-time information. But there's a lot of sensors on the band. So there's an app by a third-party developer called Band Sensor Monitor, which you just install it's for Windows Phone. So you install on your Windows Phone, and then you can view all the sensors. So you can view the current beats per minute of your heart, the temperature, your skin temperature, the resistance, I think it's called, or I forgot now, galvanic response, I think it's called.
Oh, good. Got to have some galvanic response.
Yeah. So, which is your skin resistance? So, really, I think it's monitoring like moisture of your skin, and that's obviously so the more moisture in your skin, so the more you're sweating, the more or the less your resistance goes.
Yeah.
So, and you can also monitor the battery and the steps and all that kind of thing. So, a really nice little app if you've got a band. I think it was £1.49 from the Windows Phone store. A really nice little app, worth doing. But something that's quite interesting as well is you can share out your sensor data. And according to the developer, they use Azure to share out this data, and you get like a key, and then you can give someone that key who've also got the app. So let's say, Gary, you ever got yours eventually, even though you tried, but say you got yours. So you've got this app installed on your phone. In fact, you don't even need a band because you could just have the app installed. I give you my key, and then you can real time see my sensor data.
Right.
And you can send messages to appear. So from your phone, you could send a message that would appear on the band. So I get an alert and a message. Where are you? You're supposed to be recording at 8 o'clock. So still in the bar. But and you can do that both ways. So quite interesting app, and it's interesting that the third parties have done a lot more than Microsoft have done, because there's the other apps that we talked about where you can change the backdrop for a picture, and you can change the colors and this kind of thing. And the Microsoft Health app doesn't do any of that. So it's funny that the developers have done a lot more than Microsoft done with their own apps, which is often the case, I know, but.
Well, that's what Microsoft often do, isn't it? They encourage developers, which is quite nice. And they seem to be getting back into doing that these days,
Yeah.
and being quite helpful. I think that's.
But I like that remote functionality. It's brilliant.
Yes, that's a really good idea. And I'm quite sure how they're doing the push notifications to the band, but it sounds good to me.
Yeah. It kind of shows, really, I think that the band has still got a lot more potential that it can do that it's not doing. For example, temperature. I mean, it would be good if it monitored your temperature periodically, and then if your temperature's starting to get too high, it could alert you. Or maybe I can imagine if you've got your child's sick, and you could put it on your child, and then it could send you sort of alerts. And I suppose that's where you could use a real-time thing and real-time monitor your child's temperature, which is probably quite useful, because that's usually the first thing when you see where your kid's feeling sick. You put your hand on the forehead and see if they feel a bit hot, and then dish out the Calpol.
Yeah.
It's probably something Jason knows very well.
Yeah.
Well, but I thought, I don't know why the Microsoft Health app itself doesn't have more of this sort of real-time analysis and alerting, and hopefully that's something they will do. But it's good that the developers have sort of filled the gap.
Yeah, it's what we want to see, really. If that's going to, and particularly if that is going to become a platform, then those things will be usable with other people's hardware potentially as well.
And just a word of warning, though, if you do use the app, you have to turn the sensors off if you're not using them, because if you switch all the sensors on to get the real-time information and leave it on, that drains the battery of the band, because I think that the band must check certain things like every so many seconds or whatever. And if you're not on if you're just using it in sort of standby mode, it does a regular check. This app just does real-time check, so you can drain your battery quite considerably. So you just got to be careful of that. But yeah, it works okay.
Which makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Do you see that? I think, is it the Fitbit Flex you now get free if you buy one of the Lumias in the UK?
That's because they can't give us bands, isn't it? No, it's not. But that was a deal they did actually out in the States before they started releasing the band, and obviously have now done over here as well. To be honest, I can't remember which phone it actually is, but I think you're probably right.
Yeah, I think I saw it today. I think it was the 830 or the 930.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
And hopefully at some point we will be able to get some bands, but up until that point, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Especially since the Windows Phone app is actually quite good for the Fitbit. Research, you could do a review, which I think is going to go on TDL. So hopefully people will be able to find out a bit more about the Fitbit app.
Jason, were you using Fitbit or one of them?
Yes, I can't remember which one, but I've got the Fitbit, just the standard one with the 3 lights. Sorry, with the 5 lights. I can't remember what it's called now. But yeah, I must admit, it initially motivated me to do stuff, but then it, it kind of tails off.
Yeah, I suppose that's where the sort of the more advanced things like the band, that you've got the notifications and everything else, that's where you get the sort of benefit of those. Once the initial fitness regimes have worn off, then you've still got the other features.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, one of the things I did like off initially was the silent alarm, which is supposed to wake you up, kind of your natural waking part of your sleep pattern. Because I just used to use the alarm on my phone, which, you know, my wife was always saying, because she gets up after me, it's like, oh, shut that thing up. So I thought the silent alarm would be quite good, but actually all that happens is the vibrations kind of echo through the mattress and wake her up anyway. So it wasn't quite as successful as I was hoping.
But did you find that it did wake you up at a good time, or does it just never seem to be a good time to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, to be honest, most of the time I think my youngest son, he'd wake me up before then anyway. So kids tend to not respect sleep patterns. Yeah,
I do remember that. Yeah, I know I've said this on the show before, but when mine were little, they used to get up really early. One of them did. So I used to say to him when he was about 4 or 5, I said, when you're a teenager, I would have come in your bedroom at 6 o'clock in the morning at the weekend and come and get you up. So it's getting close to that. They're not quite yet there yet, but yeah, my revenge will come eventually. But yeah, the band does have an alarm. It's not like the Fitbit where it tracks your sleep; it just wakes it up at the time. But it does. It's obviously it's the vibration rather than using your phone alarm. But I haven't used it yet because I tend to use a phone alarm, and it doesn't reoccur either. So I would forget anyway.
Got you.
Yeah, but I do like that idea. I think if I had a special, I had to get up really early for some reason as a one-off, then I think I might give that a try.
Yeah, I mean, with the Fitbit, I've never used it, but one of the things they suggest is that you could just use it as a general reminder. So it doesn't necessarily have to be to wake you up. It could be that, it's just to remind you to do something at a certain time of the day, like take a tablet or, something like that.
Yeah, and again, that's where an advanced app would be nice. If the health app, if you could do that, you could perhaps set reminders in there. I mean, if you do a Cortana reminder, it does alert you on the band.
Mm-hmm.
So you do get that, but it alerts you on the phone as well. And so if you got your phone, you're kind of getting double alerts on there.
Yeah.
I should also say as well, just to finish off on the band, the app was updated. The Microsoft Health app for all the platforms, so Windows Phone, iOS, and Android was updated. No major changes in any of the apps really that I could see. Although the Android one does allow you to turn notifications on and off by app, which the Windows Phone doesn't. So there's a notification center alert. So if you've got that switched on, any alerts that come through as a notification on Windows Phone get passed to the band. But on the Android version, you can actually pick your apps that do that, which I really like, actually. I mean, Windows Phone's not too bad. Android's quite noisy, but anyway. So when I had my Android, my Nexus, I found you get a lot of alerts on that. So you do need that. But it's funny how the Android version is actually slightly more advanced than the Windows Phone version. But I think you do need that because Android just tends to be more noisy than the Windows Phone.
Actually, talking about updates, this is the first Blind Patch Tuesday.
Oh yes.
Now, Microsoft initially said they were going to completely stop the pre-notifications, and then they went back on that. And then I think it was quite late last week they announced that it was then only going to be available to volume license customers with software assurance. So people like us no longer get pre-notifications about updates. So which is a bit alarming given the number of updates that have gone wrong just lately, particularly with the big media center issue. I think it was last Patch Tuesday. You kind of want to know what's coming down.
Yeah, I saw that. So for anybody that's not aware of this, so there was a mechanism of getting alerts, wasn't there, through a website, and I think it was RSS feed and whatever, of Patch Tuesday updates before they got delivered. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So now that's gone. So now the first time you'll know that there's a huge security patch is as it starts to download on your machine, or you see somebody else tweet about it.
Yes. Yeah, it's quite a change, I think. I mean, obviously, I appreciate that. Probably normal consumers didn't have a clue that even those notices even existed. But certainly for people like us that probably tend to be the early adopters and probably check manually for Windows updates and obviously use features like Media Center and whatnot, it was quite handy to know what fixes there were.
Yeah. So what do you think? What's the reason behind this?
I'm not too sure. I mean, it's. Yeah, I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, I'm not seeing what the official sort of explanation is for it.
I can't even really speculate why they actually wanted to. I mean, you could. I guess if you're putting a patch out for a security fix, do you want people not give a head start to people to fix it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It may be just resources. They're spending a lot of resource putting that information together. But they've got to publish that actually when they publish it anyway. So I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. It just seems a bit counterintuitive. It's not a lot of effort to publish an article, but like you said, Jason, to most consumers, it doesn't make a huge difference. But yeah, it might do in some. I mean, it does to a business. And if you're using Windows Update services, I suppose you can view the patches from there, and then how we use it in the office is we release them to a test group and then to the main group. So I suppose you can see them if you're doing that way, and if you're volume license, you get notification. But it's the end consumer that should be educated that isn't.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And just on the back of that, I can confirm that there aren't any firmware updates for the Surface this month.
Right.
Not even for the Surface Pro 3. So things are definitely slowing down there.
Yep. This is what you want, really. You really don't want updates every month.
Yeah, I suppose. It's
no, that's very true. Yeah.
How's the Wi-Fi on your Surface 3 now? Surface Pro 3.
It's been absolutely fine, to be honest. But I mean, then I didn't purchase mine until I think it was either late November or early December, by which time that final Wi-Fi update had been issued. So if there are still any lingering issues, I haven't been impacted by them.
No, that's good to know. I think they seem to have got to the bottom of that. That's probably why there's no more firmware updates, because the firmware updates were all about Wi-Fi.
Yes, yeah, they were pretty much.
Yeah, and I guess on those resources as well are obviously probably all looking at Windows 10 now. That's where the big push is now.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's some stories about Windows Phone potentially having an update cancelled, although it was never officially announced. So I'm not sure cancelled is the right thing.
Because I remember the Xbox Music and Xbox Video developers who had who were publishing the sort of bi-weekly updates for those apps said last month, and they were slowing down on their updates as they worked towards Windows 10.
Yes.
But they did release an update this week. There's been a new version of Xbox Music and Xbox Video for Windows 8.1, but not for Windows Phone. And previously they had been, I think, in sync, but they don't tend to be in sync this time.
Yeah, I didn't see any specific release notes or anything. It seems to be one of those generic updates.
Yeah, in fact, the release notes are going back to the good old Microsoft minor fixes and improvements on what, and the Xbox Video had the release notes from the previous release, which is your favourite.
They had got better at that, but
yeah,
obviously not anymore.
Yeah, because they used to put the detailed release notes were through the Xbox User Voice site, and they didn't update those. So, but like I said, they did say in the last one in December that the updates would be slowing down. So I couldn't see any changes to it, to be honest.
No.
Also updated was the Xbox One Smart Glass app. The beta version of it, and again, I couldn't see any changes in that. The release notes there said you could stream TV from the digital tuner to your Android device, which you could anyway. So I guess that's an old release notes as well.
Oh well.
Yeah. I must admit I haven't used that as much as I thought I would. I mean, I didn't get the tuner to particularly use it. I really got it to review it, and it wasn't expensive. But I haven't watched a lot of live TV through the Xbox on my phone or on the tablet, or I tend to use, say on the Surface, I tend to use the sort of the streaming websites, BBC or Netflix or Plex or whatever, rather than using it through the tuner. I suppose when maybe we get to Formula One season, that's when live TV gets more critical. But then nearly everything's streamed live now and all over the internet. So maybe the TV tune is getting a lot less use than I thought it would do.
Which is kind of interesting, isn't it, in its own right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I was going to say, all the discussions about why Media Centre might have been going away. That was one of the sort of things people were talking about. The fact that people watch less and less live TV.
Yeah, I tend to use the iPlayer app on the Xbox quite a bit, and Netflix a lot. So I noticed my kids have got, they've got new laptops for Christmas, but they tend to watch Netflix on their Surfaces while watching YouTube at the same time, or playing a game on the laptop. So it always amazes me how much YouTube they watch of people playing on games. It's such a big market, that is.
Yeah, it's huge. I think that my eldest son's decided that's what he wants to do for a living.
Well, good luck to him, because there are people making a few making a lot of money on YouTube out of that. I mean, you see some of these, millions of views, don't they, of these gaming videos?
Yeah.
Even to the point, I think I read this week, it might have been on WP Central. I think Microsoft have kind of officially said that they've got no issues with the Let's Play type videos when it's a Microsoft game.
Right. Yeah, because I suppose they could be a bit. I mean, it's in their interest to promote the games, but yeah, I can understand them. Perhaps they could be a bit twitchy about it because it's showing maybe scenes and endings of games and things. But kids don't seem to care; they love it. I mean, I was watching my lad; he was on his Xbox with the Surface on playing Netflix, and his laptop with a YouTube video of the game he was playing on the Xbox. And I guess he was trying to use it to do the walkthrough or whatever. But it's constant though. It's it's on all the time on this stuff. So there's some people getting a lot of hits on YouTube out of this.
Yeah, I think also, just to clarify what I said, it was specifically around Microsoft not having an issue of people making money
I see,
Let's Play
right?
videos. Yeah. So but yeah, I mean that's one thing that the Xbox video, the Xbox One does, isn't it? Whereby you can actually get walkthroughs and things off Twitch, and actually you're playing a game and you can link to the app and it will actually play a video specific to the level that you're playing, which is quite clever, I think.
Oh right, I haven't tried that.
Yeah, I think there's either a help or there's like an achievements assistant app, and it will show you the achievements, how far you've got through, and even a link to a video to, I guess, help you achieve it. So that was actually one of my joke Christmas presents, was a T-shirt, which was achievement unlocked, 100 Gs, left the house.
I think that'd be a suitable one for my kids as well, because
yeah, I thought about getting one. I can't find a company that makes them up to order, but I'd quite like to get one for my kids. Watch the 1,000 Stampy Cat videos.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much. I mean, I don't know how much people make on these, but you see the view counts on some of the YouTube videos, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I know the guy that does the Stampy Cat videos. I think he was on this morning or something, and he's making quite a bit of money. I think he's even emigrated to the US now.
Yeah, it's
certainly if you can, if you get the advertising revenue stream, it's it is a career.
Yeah. Well, yeah, tell your son to forget school, whatever. Just
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Now we seem to have lost Gary, which is probably because he's gone to make some gaming videos. So I'll add him back into the call. Right, what else to talk about? Oh yeah, I mentioned some media apps. So Media Browser, their development community has been really busy recently. So I've got quite a few updates on them. The Media Browser for Roku has been updated to 1.78, so that's through the channels. Roku have a kind of a channel system, and you can get the updated version of that. And the server's had a couple of updates since we last recorded, some new online help, and a new web interface, which looks very nice. And I think the Windows Phone client has been updated as well. So Scott's Fool has done some good work on that. Oh, is that a message from Gary? I hate it when messages come through because I can.
It says dropped out.
Yeah, I just now I can hear that, but I'll see if I can get him.
You have to, if you're in the full screen, you have to tap the screen and then hit the plus button,
Yeah.
and then instant message.
Let's just have it. There we go. Okay, let's try and add him in. It's trying to call him now, so so what else do we? Oh. I can hear ringing.
Ringing somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. Oh, it doesn't seem to be bringing him back on.
I can hear my phone pinging.
That's probably what I can hear then. Yeah, it's not. I'll message him back. Let's let him know. Right. Let's send him a message. I think last week he said he was on his Wi-Fi, on his phone's data connection.
Yes.
Right. He's not coming back, so I think we can continue without him on. So what else did I have to talk about? DLNAing. So on an app that I've been using for a while on Android, it's called Allcast. I think I've talked about it in the past. So this is a DLNA app for Android where you can browse through your content on your phone, and then you can then transmit it to an Xbox One or a DLNA player or Chromecast. It works with Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Actually bridges a few different networks, and it's a really good app. Actually, it's a great way of sort of getting stuff onto the TV for Android. But they've just released an iOS version of it, so you can get it on your new favorite device, your Apple device.
I'm back.
Ah, yes, you're back. We wondered if you'd gone off to make a gaming video.
Well, it would be called Crash a Lot or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How not to drive.
Yeah. Yes, you could do your not so drive-throughs on your driving games. But
yeah.
I was just talking about. Do you remember we talked about Allcast? I don't know if you've ever tried this for Android, the sort of DLNA, Chromecasting, Apple TV.
Yep, very nice app. Yep.
Yeah, so they've just released an iOS version of it, which looks pretty good. So give that a try today. So from the app, you install it on your phone or your iPad, and you can, after you've authorized it to access your content, you can then beam any of your content from that device up to an Xbox One or Chromecast, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, whatever you want, DLNA, anything, Roku. And it's a good way of getting media on there. But it also supports, as well as supporting local content, it also supports Google Drive or Google Plus, and it supports Dropbox and other things. So you can sort of have a cloud storage and then beam them to your DLNA device. So quite a nice little app.
Yeah, sounds really good.
Yeah, I quite like that Allcast. And the nice thing about it, it's free as well. There's a bit of advertising. You can get a sort of an in-app purchase to get rid of the adverts, and I think you get a bit of extra video time and things like that. But nice little app. So yeah, I think that's the first time they've got it's Clockwork Mod that do the Android mod. So I'm not sure that's the first app that they've done for iOS, but it seems to work right. So Jason, the perfect app for you then for when you switch over to your iPhone 6 Plus.
Yeah.
Now I did say we had email, so I'll make sure. Let's just get that. Now last week we talked about the fix to get Windows Home Server to back up some of the tablets and the small devices with the the modern BIOS, really, the UEFI BIOS, whatever it's called. What we decided it's called? That is it UEFI, UEFI,
UEFI.
UEFI.
I've heard it pronounced all whatever, however made.
Yeah. So last week, or the week before, Tony Park asked about that, and then Jason, I think it was. Where's my notes now? We had that as an email in. Who said that? Let's get it right. James Duncan. That's give him the credit he deserves. So James Duncan then gave us the solution and the hot fix. Well, anyway, Tony emailed me back and said, "Thanks for that. I've applied the hot fix, and now we're being backed up. I've not tried a reimage. Hopefully, I will never need to. But it's nice to know we have the data backed up. I'm using it to back up my data on the Link 7 as we live out in the sticks, so we have slow broadband. And as such, the online storing isn't the most appropriate solution yet. Thanks for your help and the listeners' help," from Tony. So it's good to know that works, and that's nice to see the community in action there. Ask a question, and then you get the answer, and then we get the update from the original question. Perfect.
No, that's really good.
Yeah. So it was a good tip. That's I haven't tried it on my links actually, so I might give that a try. Actually, I've got a video I recorded today actually that I'll probably get edited up and released probably sometime next week. But the Transformer Book T200, have you seen that one? It's an oldish, well, not oldish, it's been around for 6 months or so, but first time I had a chance to play with one today.
Yeah, it's very like the Switch 10, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
very similar.
So it's a 11-inch, I think it's 11.6-inch tablet with a keyboard that the keyboard is interesting design actually. I thought the battery was split between the keyboard and the tablet, but it isn't. The battery's all in the tablet. But I reckon, well, I got up to 9 hours, nearly 10 hours of the battery on this tablet, which is it's an Atom processor in it. So that's just the standalone tablet itself. But then you plug it into the keyboard, and there's a USB 3 port and a USB 2 port and a network port. But it's also a 500 gig hard drive in there. So you get 32 gig on the tablet and then a 500 gig in the base unit. So it's actually quite a nice little device. I think we're going to be using it for our sales guys to use as a sort of tablet for presentations. But it does have something I've noticed a few of the I don't know what the Switch 10 was like, but a lot of the ones I saw in the last year have been very top heavy, the tablets with the attachable keyboards. Yep. And they tend to topple over quite easily.
Yeah, Switch 10 does that.
Yeah, but this doesn't at all. It's the keyboard is very heavy, well, heavy but solid because of the drives in there as well. So it doesn't topple over at all. So it actually feels like a proper laptop.
Yeah, I've heard of that with the Switch 10 one, because you can get a Switch 10 variant with the hard drive in the keyboard as well, and I've heard that's better than the one we use. Yeah.
So a very nice little device, I've got to say. It's Windows 8.1. You don't get Office with it because it's a larger screen size, so you've got to install that yourself. But 32 gig SSD, Atom processor, decent amount of battery life, and I said the sort of the docking solution for it works quite well. So quite a nice little device. So I'll probably video up next week, and in the meantime, I posted one video this week, which is the Ho2 TripMate Mini, which is a very handy thing if you're doing a lot of traveling. It's a little battery-powered sort of hotspot router thing that you can plug a network lead into as well to share out, and it's got DLNA in it as well, so you can use it as a DLNA server. You can plug a USB drive in or an SD card and use it as a little DNA server. So quite a nice little device to have if you're carrying it, if you traveling hotel, whatever.
I like the fact it's battery powered. That has potential.
Yeah, and it will charge a device as well from the battery.
Yeah. Train journeys come to mind.
Yeah. Yeah, but I can imagine if you got, if you're working away and you've got your media on a SD card, you can have that on there and then just share it out, make your own little personal hotspot. And sometimes you go to a hotel, don't they give you a single Ethernet port, and you think, well, what good's that with my Surface?
Yeah.
So you could share that connection out as well.
Yeah.
So a nice little device. So a link for that anyway in the show notes. And I think I should have a video of a Netgear device coming up soon with you put a SIM card in. So it does a similar thing, but it takes a SIM card as well. Air card, it's called. So we should look for that next week. So I think that's about all we've got time for this week. So what have you got coming up on Fascinating Tech?
We're busy reviewing stuff. Actually, one thing I did want to mention this week is I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I was reviewing on the last issue of Fascinating Tech. We reviewed the TDK Trek range of Bluetooth speakers, and I've done the sort of the Trek Mini and the main Trek, the Space Trek one. And over the last few weeks, I've been reviewing the TDK Trek Max speaker, which I'm incredibly impressed with. But I wasn't initially. And the reason I wasn't initially is because I had it on the floor and I was listening to it. And in that sort of configuration, it doesn't work all that well, because you hear both the bass speakers on the back and the tweeters on the front. But if you just run it so it's actually in front of you, the sound quality is amazing. It's right up there with sort of like a Sonos or some of the high-end speakers. Really, really clever, and it's battery powered and it's smash proof as well. So really good stereo Bluetooth speaker with controls on the top. Like it a lot.
Well, that's it's quite good outside in the garden and on summer.
Yeah. Summer days, and if you get a light shower, it'll cope with that.
Yeah.
It's solid. The battery lasts for ages. I haven't actually managed to flatten the battery while I was using it on a day test. It's got NFC on it as well, so you can pair very easily with it. So all round, a really good device.
Yeah, should look out for that. That's a Fascinating Tech.
The review will be out very shortly. Yes, Jason.
As you say, that sounds very much like the Nokia. I think it's the MD12 speaker. And that it sounds awful unless it's on a good solid surface, because it really uses that to boost the sound and the bass.
Yeah, this doesn't really need to be on a solid surface, but it's just the angle you're actually listening from. If you listen from behind it or over the top of it, you just get the bass overpowering everything. But if you actually from the front, it works really well.
Yeah.
Excellent. So look out for that. So what's your Twitter as well?
At Gary with 2 R's WMA on Twitter.
And any Neil Young would not approve of your compression.
No, he wouldn't. He definitely wouldn't approve of my compression. Although WMA Lossless is pretty good.
Yeah. Did you? Just as a quick aside, did you see that? What's it called? The Pono player, isn't it?
Pono player, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Gizmodo or something. Absolutely slagged it off and gave it a terrible review, but they never actually said whether they actually had one. It was all on the theory. But anyway, that's probably a story for another week.
That sounds
Did you sorry, I know we're supposed to be wrapping up, but did you see the audio made by Hardin Carman?
No.
They'd got a car and they're basically able to create 4 different zones inside the car using a kind of combination of localized speakers and noise cancellation technology.
Oh, fantastic.
But I was telling my wife about this and I said, this just sounds like somebody trying to find a solution or a problem for a solution. Because apparently they had the idea because it was to stop arguments in the car about what people listen to. And my wife just went, they listen to their iPods. The kids don't argue about what they want to listen to. They just put their iPods on.
Exactly, yeah. And I listen to the car through what I want to listen to, and they have their headphones in. Yeah,
exactly. So, I'm not quite sure who all these people are that argue about what they listen to in the car. But anyway, it did make me chuckle.
Yeah, I used to have my Walkman when I was in the back of my dad's car in the 80s. Nothing changes.
Yeah.
So where can we find you, Jason?
You can find me on Twitter at Database Chase.
Excellent, great stuff. We should be back Tuesday. I think it's the Tuesday, whereas the Windows thing's on the Wednesday, isn't it? I've got a feeling.
Yes.
Yep.
You don't want to postpone and record on the Wednesday?
Well, it depends on the announcement. I'll have a think about it. We'll either do it Tuesday with our predictions, and then people can laugh at them horribly on Thursday when we release the show.
Well, I'm actually at a Microsoft event on the Wednesday, which I won't say about.
Hush, hush.
Yes. Excellent. Right, guys. Well, it's been great fun as ever. So I shall see you back here next Tuesday, probably. Follow us on Twitter at Dixon for all the info. And thanks to everybody who joined us on the live stream and on the podcast. So we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Good stuff. Yeah,